You are listening to Booknutz. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Booknutz. This is your podcast about where we talk about audiobooks, podcasts, a little podcast. We really haven't gotten into podcasts too much, or even old-time radio shows, but we do focus on, most of the time, books. And we do listen to audiobooks, but please, by all means, read the book if you like to read the book and go along with us. We do a high view look at the book before, non-spoilers, and then we tell you when there's a spoiler before we go on. So you can do that, and if you want to contact us, just email Tracy at podnutz.com, and I'll send it over to my partner if he has anything. So, talking about my partner, the one, the only, Mr. Jonathan Nadeau. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
Oh, good. Good thing there's only one of me.
Can the world handle two Jonathans? I mean,
not only that, but my wife, my poor wife. I mean,
yeah. There's now people that don't understand. There's me and Jonathan are in the same category. There's marrying up. Then there's another step that's like, what was she thinking?
Yeah.
That's where me and Jonathan are to our wives. So yeah,
wait, I thought he was the blind one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, some people look at me and my wife and say, I think she's blind. So, but you know what? It's another story for another time. So exactly. So yeah. So anything new down your front this week?
One thing on the sonar front that I'm not sure how soon this will be feasible or done, but we're also now looking at making a talking media box version of sonar where we would be utilizing Kodi, which was formerly known as XBMC. There's a screen reader that someone built for Kodi called the Kodi screen reader. Now, Orca does not work with Kodi, but the screen reader works fantastically with it. So I think we might have to wait until the Manjaro ARM version is done. But once that's done, we can then make Kodi versions of Sonar to put on these Raspberry Pis and other boards to make talking media servers.
Well, that's pretty cool. Every time somebody talks about Kodi, I instantly think of Cody Cooper.
Exactly, yeah.
and I want to say, I wonder what Cody's doing right now. You know, for those of you who don't know, go to Podnutz, go to Linux for the rest of us, and you will know Cody. So, yeah, the first time me and Cody met was at the Ohio Linux Fest a few years ago. He was going to stay in the hotel room with me.
Oh, man. There's some hilarious stories about that.
Yeah, never met him before, and he was getting in super, super late, like really, really late, like 2, 3 in the morning. So I just left a key for him at the front desk, and he came in and just kind of dropped stuff down, go to bed, and we ended up talking for about 2 hours. Of all things, we started talking about ham radio and stuff like that, so... one of my favorite, infamous rabbit hole conversations that seems to happen quite often. So,
absolutely.
So good. Well, hey, today's book, we're going to talk about he's a great writer. There's no other word for it. There's people that write. There are people that can write good, and then there's people like, dang, are they good? And
yeah.
That's Scott Sigler.
Definitely.
Everything he writes is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the first thing you read by Scott Sigler?
It was probably the Rookie, the GFL series. But once I read that book, I was like, man, I mean, not only was it great because it was football and just the way he kind of tied stuff in, but just the way he writes, I just love, he just knows how to paint a picture with words. And I was just like, I need to find other stuff. So I'm pretty sure I must have read everything he's written so far. Like, I've yet to read a book where I'm like, that wasn't that good. Like, he even has like a bunch of short stories that he's done, and I'm a fan of everything he's written. He's just so good. Yeah,
I think I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's one of his. I'm trying to think. It's Blood is Red. That's it. Yeah. A good one. It was some short stories.
Exactly.
In that one, which was good. I think that one was one of the first ones I've had by him. But yeah, he's done quite a bit. Was it Scott Sigler that did Earthcore?
Yes.
Yes.
That was the first book that he actually turned into like a podcast.
Yeah, I got that one on Audiobooks.
Yes.
And that was one. Now, when I read Blood is Red, that's it. Yes, I just Googled it. Yep, Blood is Red. You are correct. I shouldn't have doubted you. I really did know who Scott Sigler was, honestly. And then I came across Earthcore after that. And then I put two and two together, like, the name Scott Sigler sounds familiar, you know. Then I said, okay, yeah, that was it. So, but if you're looking for a really good audiobook, we have to put this on our list too, Earthcore, from Audiobooks.
Yeah, I just listened to it actually yesterday.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, well, hey. So that's a good book.
It's a great book, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Audiobooks is great. I just last week I mowed through all of them. I haven't listened to them. Put it this way, I listened to it so long ago. The first time I heard about this, first time I listened to it, I heard about it one of his very first episodes of Linux Reality, Mr. Chess Griffin.
Oh, that's on Audiobooks?
Yeah, no Chess. When he was talking about that quarter share, half share.
Oh yeah.
The Solar Clipper series.
Yeah.
I mowed through all 5 of them again. So we might have to talk about that too.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
That's another good series.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned audiobooks because that popped into my head as you were talking about podcasts. At the beginning of the episode, definitely check out audiobooks.com. It's a great. You'd be amazed at not only the amount of books, but the quality and the effort people put into these podcasts. It's amazing.
Yeah, and if you have Podcast Addict for a podcast player, love that for my phone. You can add different podcast networks. One of the networks you can add is Audiobooks. Well, if you go in there, you can just pick any book you want, select, and they're on there. So you don't have to go to each one individually. So it makes it really nice. So, yeah, that's a good website to check out, too. So
absolutely.
Good. Well, Scott Sigler, the book we are going to talk about today is called Titlefight.
Yes.
Okay. This is part of I guess you call it a tweener book.
Yeah, or a novella, he would call it, maybe.
Yeah. This is part of the GFL, the Galactic Football League. This one takes place between the rookie and the starter.
Yeah.
Basically, there's an undefeated Galactic Heavyweight Champion, and
Korak the Cutter.
That's it. I remember Cutter. I forgot the Korak part. Yeah, Korak the Cutter. He's basically not just defeated everybody. He has destroyed them. Think of Hulk Hogan after he won the WWF title back in the 80s for the first 3 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a question. He was going to win easy. Not even Andre the Giant could take him out.
Exactly.
So that's basically what Korak was doing. He was just taking everybody out.
Yeah, I think he was 46-0 was his lifetime record, and out of those 46, he had 5 kills.
Right. Now, part of the deal when they were have these fighting, they would have enhancements done to them.
Yeah.
And we're still not in the spoiler section. I'm not going to say what enhancements because that, I guess it could be a spoiler to that too. But basically it is, he's gonna, he has one fight and it's late in his career, and the heretic he's fighting, North.
Kyle North.
Yeah. And basically something happens before the fight, makes it kind of harder for him. Other stuff kind of happen along the way, and he still has to fight.
Yeah, and this kind of fighting, it's kind of like MMA kind of fighting. It's not like boxing. It's
right.
Basically kind of like MMA fighting. And there's actually 2 leagues. Korak the Cutter, I think, was in the IFA, was the Intergalactic Fighting Association or something like that. And then Kyle North, who was called the Heretic, he was part of he was in the league below what Korak the Cutter was in. And kind of what starts off this whole story is the Heretic has, basically beaten everyone except Korak the Cutter. And he said, well, I'm not going to feel like the champion until I beat him because he's like the guy to beat. But Korak the Cutter is possibly looking at retiring. And so the heretic calls him out and says, if he retires, he's going to have a loss on his record. He's going to, he's going to lose his pride if he doesn't fight me. So it basically puts it out there like that and kind of gives Korak the Cutter no way out. Like he has to fight him basically.
Right. So that kind of sets it up. That's kind of the book. This audiobook wasn't extremely long. I think it was probably, about 4 hours, 6 hours?
I don't know. For me, it was like an hour. So.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's about 4 to 6 hours.
It's like 10 chapters. They call them rounds. So it's 10 chapters. So
so you could listen to this one in an afternoon.
Yeah.
Easy, even on 1x speed.
Yeah.
So no issues with that. So, yeah. So anything else before we get to the spoiler section?
No, I think it's pretty good. We're just getting, it's the battle of the ages, basically.
Exactly, the young guy against the old guy.
Yep,
So, so good. So, okay, again, we're going to head into the spoiler section here. If you want to contact us, just email Tracy at podnutz.com, and I'll get it to me, or if you want to Jonathan, just put that in the note, and I'll send it over to Jonathan. Remember to support the show, go to podnutz.com/Amazon. If you want to buy this book, any of Scott Sigler's books, you can find out there. But if you do want to buy it online, you can also buy it online too, and help Mr. Sigler out.
Yeah.
So that's how he makes his living. So he gives everything away, but he makes a living because people still buy it too.
Yeah, they still want to support him.
His stuff is that good.
Oh, yeah.
So So again, if you want to turn this off, we're gonna have a spoiler coming up there. If not, we will have another episode for you again next week. So thanks for listening. Let's get on to the spoiler section.
Here we go.
All right. Spoilers. Here we go. So basically, like we said, it starts off, you got the young guy wants to take on the old guy, but you have some people that want to fix this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because Korak the Cutter, in all realistically, would have his way with the heretic.
Yeah.
Even playing field, I don't think Korak the Cutter would have had too much problem with him.
Well, I mean, maybe, but in the book it kind of talks to it opens up with him doing that first fight, and even his manager guy that's been with him for his whole career, he was like, "Man, it looked like you're gonna break his neck. It's a good thing he tapped out." And he was like, "I was trying to break his neck." And so his manager realizes, like, "All right, champ, you're losing a step, and now you're losing your strength. Like, you almost were beat by this other guy." And so his manager's really trying to push him to retire. But like I said, in the first half, the heretic really kind of put him in a corner where he can't turn him down,
Right. And they also have these implants which help him speed. They help block pain.
Yes. Yeah.
So he can turn off all pain during a fight.
Exactly. And he has all these kind of mods, they call them, where basically imagine almost turning yourself into like a cyborg, basically. They put all these things into your arms and your legs and your your central nervous system, all kinds of stuff to make you this incredible fighter on top of your natural abilities.
Yep, and they kind of want him to take a dive. Some people that want to fix this,
and it's actually the owner of the INF Kraken's football team.
Right. So they want him to take a dive. And he's basically gives him the finger,
Yeah.
And the night before, he actually kind of gets jumped.
Yes.
And was knifed or shot? I forgot.
He was shot.
Knifed.
He was shot.
Shot. Yeah, I forgot which one. So and
Korak the Cutter was shot. Just to clarify that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Korak the Cutter was shot the night before the fight.
Well, they could fix him in time, and they told him you need to block off all the pain so we can do this, get you fixed quick before the fight. And he's like, nope, I want to feel it so I can use that anger against him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't get too many details, goes to the fight, and it is a long, drawn-out fight.
Yeah.
This one's going the distance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And I'll let you talk about the end of the fight.
Oh, the end of the fight, when I listened to the book the first time, I was like, oh my goodness! Again, Sigler is so good at describing things and everything. I'd have to say it almost made my stomach wheeze a little bit. So it's the end of the fight. Quark the Cutter is kind of getting the upper hand on the heretic, and you think, okay, he's gonna win here, and all of a sudden the heretic like props up his leg on one of the ropes, and when Quark the Cutter jumps on top of him and starts to pound him, he breaks the heretic's leg, and you're like, and he kind of describes it and stuff. But so after he breaks his leg, the heretic's leg is broken. He somehow gets Quark the Cutter off of him and takes his broken leg. Like, when I say broken, I mean it's like off his body broken. And takes the bone of his leg and then stabs Quark the Cutter with his own bone from his leg.
Yep. And then shortly after that, he wakes up.
Yeah, the heretic wakes up.
Yeah, the heretic wakes up and
oh wait, but
no, the Cutter wakes up in the ship.
No, it's the heretic that does. But before that though, the heretic had this famous ending that he would do when he fought, because Quark the Cutter is this type of, they call him sentience. So he's this particular kind of being, and of course it's slipping my mind what they're called. Shoot, I can't remember it. But anyways, when the heretic fought another being like Quark the Cutter, at the end of the fight, he actually like ripped the heart out of him and ate it on right there in the ring. And so after the heretic stabs Quark the Cutter with his leg, he's basically done. Like they're both lying on the mat. They're both like inches away from dying because they just beat themselves to such an oblivion. But the heretic looks over at Quark the Cutter and he's like, they kind of have this, like, they just know what's going to happen. Like, the heretic's like, I'm going to reach into your heart and pull it out and eat it. And Quark the Cutter's like, for them, dying in the ring like that is like, it's a way to go, basically. Like, it would be shameful to die outside of the ring, basically. So, Quark the Cutter's almost like admitting defeat. Well, you find out that when the heretic reaches in and goes to grab at his heart, there was like this electrical like shock unit put into like near his heart. So when the heretic went to reach in and rip out this guy's heart, he got shocked, and it showed that the heretic died like 3 seconds before Quark the Cutter. So Quark the Cutter was declared the winner because he lived for 3 seconds longer. And it turns out when he was shot, that was all set up so that they could implant that electrical shock system in him without anyone knowing. And it was just all a ruse to be able to do that. And so, but like Tracy said, at the end of the fight, it looks like the heretic died, but all of a sudden he wakes up in the ship, and he's like, what the heck is going on? And then, I don't know, Tracy, you want to take it from there?
Yeah, and find out who actually saved him was the doctor.
Yes, the doctor that's part of the GFL INF Krakens.
Yeah, so he basically kind of heals him, kind of puts him in this little... I don't know what you'd call it, like forced coma.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Basically healed him and dropped him off on this, not really backwoods planet, but pretty close.
Yeah.
Kind of off the sights of a lot of people. And he it ends where there could be another episode coming up because it ends up with him kind of being a bouncer at this bar. And some people are kind of like coming at him from the bar. So, and it kind of stops. So, and I'm like, okay, I could see another novella between something coming up here too. So
yeah, and the heretic was so mangled when the doctor fixed him up. I mean, he was missing a leg, so he had like basically like a wood leg, I guess you would say. He was like missing an eye, so in place of his eye, I think he took like a coin and like put it where his eye went. So I mean, the heretic was all mangled up, but the doctor kept him alive. I don't remember the exact details, but he kept him alive for some purpose. Like he just felt bad, and so he wanted to help the guy not die. And so when he dropped him off on this planet, yeah, like Tracy said, he basically became a bouncer. These guys were giving him problems, and they thought they're gonna take care of him because he doesn't look like he can hold his own. But then the heretic just mops the floor with him, and the owner of the bar's like, "Hey, you want a job?"
Exactly. So, yeah, it's a good book. Read it. I give this one a 7. How about you?
I would say an 8. It was done pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. So we're gonna let you guys go read it. We're going to kind of cut it here because we go into more detail. It's pretty much we're reading.
It's a short book, so
yeah. So again, thanks for listening, everybody. If you want to contact us, Tracy at podnuts.com. Any last thing before we get out of here?
podnuts.com/Amazon.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Everybody have a great day, good week, and join us again next week.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.